Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. Called Make It Better. I used to be the systems admin / engineer / everything at a company of about 300 people. Most of them were remote sales reps with laptops, and many had unpaid interns in a training program. That to me seemed brutal. The interns were given whatever old computer part I could piece together. Part of the program required them to earn enough commission to qualify for an office and a computer, which seemed odd to me, but I didn't make the policies. These machines were mid-grade Dell workstations when they were new, long past their prime. The president, co-owner, VP, HR and my leadership absolutely refused to allocate new equipment to interns, not even a $10 keyboard. Every piece of gear had to come from decommissioned employee equipment. To make things even more complicated, service priority was based on sales performance. That meant constant arguments about who deserved the least terrible equipment. And let's just say, many of these sales reps had big egos. One rep, let's call him John, was having a fantastic year. One of his interns had a somewhat better computer, but still complained constantly. I already pooled RAM, swapped processors, did everything possible with what I had. But John insisted that I was holding his intern back. Now, sales reps could buy better equipment for their interns if they wanted, but they never did. Eventually, the company VP, who, let's just say, was very confident in himself but not great at sales, called me into his office. He knew the situation, but still took John's side. You need to improve this situation in some way. Do something, anything, to enable the success of the intern. Make sacrifices if you have to. Alright, fine. I had an off-brand computer case gathering dust in my office. Been there since before I started. No idea where it came from. Over the weekend, I transplanted everything from the intern's workstation into this case. Since it came from our Dell workstation, I had to remove all the easy service parts and jam everything into place. It was a mess, a total Frankenstein build, but it worked. Same insides, just a new and not better container. Oh, and since it was such a tight fit, I had to leave out a stick of RAM. And I accidentally dropped the processor, so I had to replace it with another one that was slightly slower. I carefully peeled the Windows sticker off the old case and slapped it onto the new one. Came in early Monday, plugged it in and waited. A few hours later I got called to John's office. I figured I was done for, but instead the intern was beaming, John was beaming, VP was beaming. They thanked me for my hard work and gave me a $5 gift card to our coffee shop, and that was that. The next story is called A New Phone. There's always that one person, the one who constantly reminds everyone how incredibly important they are and how urgent their request must be. Usually this goes hand in hand with a lack of competence and a challenging attitude. This is about one such person. We were about to buy new work phones. It was long overdue. The iPhone SEs that upper management had deemed suitable were already outdated 5 years ago. The batteries drained quickly, and they never really gave our users a good experience. So we decided to wait until the new SE models, now called E's, were available. But word spread fast. As soon as the first whisper of new phones got out, one sales rep started showing up in my office twice a week to complain. His phone was terrible. He desperately needed a new one, and it was critical that we upgrade him immediately. No, he did not need it more than our field teams. But that didn't stop the endless complaints. In the last 3 weeks alone, he had gone to our boss 3 times, insisting that we were refusing to give him a new phone. Our boss just rolled his eyes and suggested that we do something. Well, we did have an iPhone 13, brand new, still in the box, set aside for emergencies. So last Thursday, when he walked into my office yet again to voice his frustrations, I was more than happy to help. Since his phone was so awful and he needed a replacement so badly, we could provide him with a new phone immediately. Now, he wasn't exactly thrilled to receive the old iPhone 13, but since he made such a big deal about it, and the CEO himself had approved this urgent upgrade, he had no choice but to smile, clench his fists and pretend to be happy. We updated the CEO that the issue was resolved. He smiled and ordered brand new iPhone 16es and Pixel 9s that same day. Never annoy your IT team. The last story is called Teaching Style. About 2 months ago, I worked for a truly difficult administrator. This guy was rough. Before working at the school, I had spent around 18 years teaching 8th grade math, 4th grade math, or working as an academic coach. I switched schools mainly for location. I found one on the other side of the mountain I stare at every night and thought this could be a great fit. It was not. This admin, we'll call him Pop and Fresh, shut me down at every turn. I started in the middle of the school year, working with some very challenging students. On my first day of training, the academic coach introduced us to a program called GimKit. It's not a full education tool on its own, but it's a fantastic 5-minute check to see if students actually understand the material. And best of all, the kids love it. Day 1 with students, I immediately saw how tough the classroom environment was. They had already run 2 teachers out of there. I knew I needed a way to get them engaged. So I introduced them to GimKit. They had just opened their Chromebooks, maybe 30 seconds in, when Pop and Fresh burst into the room and shut it down instantly. No questions, no assessment, just a quick glance at our game-looking activity, and boom, done. And this wasn't a one-time thing. Every time I tried a new program, strategy or student-centered activity, he'd pop in and shut it down, like clockwork. Finally, he made it crystal clear. Teach only what's on the test, nothing more. I took this as my cue to go all in on his method. Anytime a student asked, why do we do it like this? While working on surface area and volume, I simply said, that's not on the test. If I had an urge to connect the lesson to other standards, no, not on the test. Within a short time, the students were miserable, yawning, disengaged. It was painful to watch. So I decided to only apply the strategy when Pop and Fresh popped into my classroom. And then one day he showed up with a crew. His boss, his boss's boss, and a few people I didn't recognize. The moment they walked in, I flipped the switch. I went full monotone, straight out of a bad 80s classroom movie. The students groaned immediately. I hate when you teach like this. This is the worst part of my day. I hate math now, thanks. The room erupted with complaints. Right on cue, Pop and Fresh put on a show for his bosses. These kids seem highly unmotivated. We need to meet about this if you can't get them engaged. That's when I saw my opening. You told me to only teach what's on the test. So that's exactly what I'm doing. If they ask why something works, not on the test. If they want to solve it in a different way, not on the test. And you also said, be up and be teaching and never let them use their Chromebooks, right? I made sure his entire audience heard me loud and clear. I had a feeling these were the higher ups, the ones who had signed off on making our school a true one-to-one school, where every student had a Chromebook. And I had a very strong suspicion that they would not be thrilled about the Chromebooks not being used. Pop and Fresh tried to recover. I only stopped you from using the Chromebooks because the kids were just playing games. That's when the students jumped in. It's a math game. And then the real boss spoke up. Well, let's see what this math game is all about. I had the students get their Chromebooks. They excitedly logged in. I pulled up a surface area and volume GimKit. And suddenly the energy in the room shifted. Students were fully engaged, scribbling calculations in their notebooks to get answers and gain points in the game. I paused the activity when needed to explain concepts, break down formulas, and show different ways to solve problems. It was everything education should be. By the end of the day, I had an email from the big boss himself. He wanted to know more about Pop and Fresh and how things had really been going. I was honest. I told him about the questionable things happening at the school. Things that were very concerning. That was 2 months ago. I've since moved to a much better school. Pop and Fresh is now under investigation. and it's working its way all the way up the chain. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.